This internet's defense of bad parenting is insane by Matthew Walsh. Sir Matthew
Well, recently
Walsh.
I commented on a video of the super nanny. Apparently that's what she's called. I've never really
Super
heard of her, but
nanny.
she made a good point about the way parents today raise their kids or fail to. I guess we'll play the video. Here it is.
I'm going to say something that might make you uncomfortable, so sit tight.
Yeah.
We are slowly disabling our children.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly. I say that because I work with families continuously every day. And I'm seeing a pattern that's growing. Children who are capable, but not being taught. We're pushing children along on bikes instead of teaching them how to ride them. We're keeping children in strollers who should be walking, climbing, building strength. We've got 4-year-olds still using dummies when that was only ever meant to be a short-term aid. 7-year-olds who can't brush their teeth.
Well, what the hell's a dummy? Oh, a pacifiers. I call it a dummy. I see.
Strength. We've got 4-year-olds still using dummies when that was only ever meant to be a short-term aid. 7-year-olds who can't brush their teeth properly without an electric toothbrush. 8-year-olds who can't sit at a table and use a knife and fork. 9-year-olds who don't basically understand bathroom hygiene. And I find myself asking, when did we stop teaching these life skills? When? And before you get defensive, I understand modern life is busy. I do. But this isn't time. It's about intention, because every time we step in and do it for them or avoid teaching because it's slower.
All you have to do is go out sometime, go to like a family, like a family restaurant, like an Applebee's or something, like those kinds of like kind of not Waffle House. Yeah. Like a Chili's, Applebee's, something like that. Yeah. Go to one of those and look at the people and their kids. And what you'll see is a bunch of kids on tablets. You'll see they have like these little colorful tablets that have like, the little case around them. And they literally sit there and they watch Minecraft videos. I'm not even joking. Like, do it sometime and tell me that I'm wrong. Because they don't want to have any family time. They don't want to talk about it. They want to just like kind of, it almost feels like the adults want to just keep doing what they're doing. But then they have a kid. So they're like, let me just give this kid this pad so then I can just pretend like I'm like I'm an adult, like pre-having a kid. That's what it feels like.
Messier or inconvenient, we take away an opportunity for them to become capable. And children want to feel capable. So we go back to basics, parents. We teach the bike riding with support, then without. We remove the dummy when it's no longer.
They're like afraid of their kid getting hurt. That's why, like their kid falling off the bike or whatever. Yeah, that's what it is. It was just kind of like that, honestly. Like, how do I explain it? Like, it was really different when I was a kid, and whatever, boomer Leaflit, right? But it was like this. Hey, Dad, I'm going outside, and he's like, just come back before the sun's down, and you just go outside, and then like and it's not just you. Right? You might think, well, it's just you outside. No, it's not. Every kid is outside. Literally every kid is outside. Everyone, and you always had to track people down too, because like nobody had phones. So you had to track people down. You had to go like someone's house and be like, hey, is like this person here? And they'd be like, well, she's over here apparently. And then so like you would have to go there and go look if they were there or whatever, right? But it was like, go in the woods, go to the creek, go to the waterfront. You know what I mean? Like it was that kind of a thing. Go to the park, go play tennis or something like that. Go play basketball. You would just go skateboarding or whatever, right? Like you just go out and do whatever. And then you came, sometimes you had a situation where it was like, well, you'd be at like your friend's house and your friend would be like, why don't you just have dinner with us? And then you would do that, right? And there was really a sense of community and kids had a lot more freedom to go do stuff, right? And like, every now and then a kid would, you'd have a kid break his leg, you'd have a girl break her arm, and it was like, whatever, right? It was like, okay, well, just put a cast on that, I guess, right? And then that's how it was. And it's like nowadays it just feels like everything is so sheltered. Everything's so sheltered, everything's so rigid. You know, there's like so much fear with things nowadays. And I just don't think that's a really good environment, because you don't have those cases where kids can learn the, you know, and obviously you tell them, you know, don't, you know, if you see a fucking white van, that person's trying to give you candy out of the back of a white van, to go inside the van. Obviously, you don't go in there, right? And, you know, obviously you teach your kids like these kind of game ending level things, right? But letting your kid kind of experience the world and, like, you know, experience pain, experience learning, what's good, what's bad, what's going to get you in trouble. Like these are all things that kind of help people to learn how to make their own decisions, right? Namikaze, thank you so much for the raid, by the way. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you. In our days as kids, we had society built on trust. Now we have a society built on degeneracy. You know what? That is a good point, scholars. That is absolutely a valid concern. Yeah, this is a totally a valid concern. And I think really, you know, the way I see things, right, it's always been, you can't really control everything about other people, right? So really you got to move out of those places. Like if you're going to have kids and you're going to, you know, you're going to raise a family, you gotta do it somewhere that you can, that you can actually spread your wings. You know what I mean? Like you gotta go somewhere like in the countryside, somewhere with like good community, right? Like where I live right now, there's kids doing that. Kids bike around all the fucking time. Dude, I see kids riding on fucking quads. A kid was riding on a quad and he almost ran into my fucking mailbox, and his fucking quad hit the telephone pole, or I don't know, whatever, electricity pole or whatever the fuck it is, right? Just ran right into it, man. And it's like, you know, it happens, right? What's a quad? ATVs. They had to airlift a kid, dude. They had to airlift a kid like out of the woods, because he like went too fast on the ATV, like hit some air and like flew off of it, right? But the point I'm saying is that, like, you see it all the time, like just kind of kids walking around, like you know, catching fucking frogs and just, you know, having fun with their friends. And you got to live in a place that you can do that, right?
Needed. We show them how to brush their teeth properly, not rely on this electric tool. We sit at the table and we teach them how to eat properly. We guide.
See, that one I don't really agree with, because it's like technology is good to use. You have technology anyway, so might as well use it, right?
We repeat, we expect. Not perfectly, consistently, because independence isn't something that just happens. It's taught parents. And if we don't teach it, we can't be surprised when it's missing.
So that's what you said. I commented on that. I said she's right. Of course, mealtime is a big part of the problem. Lots of parents.
Yeah, what did I say? What did I say, right, about eating food, and then like families don't even talk anymore. Like, no, I'm serious. Go out and watch people that eat at the restaurant. They're all on their phone. Literally everyone's on their phone. And you know what? I'm kind of guilty of this too, to be honest. But it's even worse if you have kids.
Negotiate with their children, allow them to not
I've been trying lately to put my phone down. When I go eat at a place with my mom, I try to put my phone down. I'm trying to do it more.
Or just serve them chicken nuggets or mac and cheese for every meal. They don't teach table manners. They don't require that their children ask to be excused before leaving the table. They let their kids use electronics at the table, etc. Complete disaster. And plenty of comments responding to that, plenty disagreeing.
I actually agree with Matt on this.
Or in some cases agreeing. So we'll go through some of the comments.
What is there to disagree with here? Well, actually, you know, my kid really likes Minecraft videos. Like, what the fuck what is there to disagree with?
Stephanie says, I'm Gen
God.
X. Nobody taught me these life skills. We had to figure this out ourselves. Are kids getting too dumb to do this? Nobody taught you life skills. This is totally a Gen X thing, by the way. They love to brag about not being parented. Gen Xers love this. There's not a lot we could say about Gen Xers, or that needs to be said. But this is one thing about Gen X. They love to brag. They love to brag about not having any real parenting, as if that's something to be proud of. If nobody taught you life skills, which is really the whole job of a parent, that's basically your entire gig. And if no one did that, I can guess two things about you. One is your parents sucked. Two, you probably don't actually have those life skills to the degree that you think you do.
Many such cases.
This is something
many such cases, dude.
Hear a lot from people where they'll say, well, you know, that's how I was raised and I turned out fine. I was raised that way. Look at me. I turned out fine. And then you look at them and it's like, yeah, but no, you didn't.
Tyson says, Leaflit, it's so pathetic how we've gone past the point of not being able to have table manners, cutlery, and being able to eat without a fucking screen. Yeah, it is. It is. And really, that's one thing that you can start with, right? One thing that you can challenge yourself is to, like, you know, when you have family or friends and you're eating something, just like not using the phone. But you want to know what's crazy, though? You want to know what's crazy about this? This isn't just, this is one place I will disagree. I will disagree with Matt Walsh is, let's be real here. This isn't just Gen X or millennials or Zoomers or anything like that. I see a lot of boomers fucking doing the same thing. Like, you see boomers like they go to a restaurant and they just can't get off of their fucking phones. Yeah, they all do it. This isn't just this is honestly, you want to know what this is? And I think if I were to diagnose the problem, I think it's that humanity is not really prepared for this, and that we have been hit with a serious cultural contagion where we live in a society that has set up for maximum attention, like retention of attention. Because of that, like, you know, the percentage viewed and stuff like that, it's hyper optimized, where it's literal mind crack. Like, if you look at something, it is like hyper optimized to like get you to keep watching it. It's hyper optimized to get you to scroll. Oh, just one more. I mean, how many of you guys have experienced this? You watch a video on YouTube, Shorts, whatever your pick your poison, X, whatever, right? You watch a video and you're like, I'm just gonna watch this one video and then I'm gonna get to work. And then you watch that one video and then auto recommends you a video right after that, and you're like, holy fuck, actually I'm really curious. Like, what do you mean that? What do you mean 12-year-old finds out that he's going to jail for murder because he got caught? What do you mean? Right? And then you watch that and then it's like, it just keeps going, right? It just keeps going. You're like, what the fuck? And then it's like, the next one would be like, I tricked people into thinking aliens were real. Like, what? How the fuck can you do that? That looks kind of interesting. You click that and you just keep going. You keep going. And then by the time you know it, it's been 5 videos and you're like, oh fuck, I said I was going to stop like an hour ago. And then, you know, then you're fucked. Right. And, I think that's the thing is like, it's hyper optimized. Like this cultural, I don't really want to call it a disease. It's this cultural factor that humanity is not prepared for, just the sheer optimization of like attention retention, right? Of retention. The sheer optimization of the retention. It's like you see it and it clicks just right in your head. It like hits every single little hole that in your attention that makes you like, okay, one more. Okay, one more. Okay, one more. I think that's what it is, really. And I think that's why you see all generations being hit by this equally. And again, boomers will bitch and be like, oh, you know, it's the Gen Xers or the Zoomers and the millennials. You'll have this shit, right? But it's honestly everybody. I've literally seen boomers do the same thing. I've seen like old people on fucking Facebook, you know, just on the Facebook, you have like this old man, old woman having dinner together. And, you know, maybe their kid is there too. And they're just fucking on their phones, everybody. So it's not just like a one generation thing.
Actually, you didn't turn out fine. It's always the most dysfunctional people with lives of pure misery, lives that you look at them and you're plunged into despair just by looking at them. And they're always the ones that go, I turned out fine. No, you totally did not turn out fine. You actually turned out really poorly. Apparently no one's told you this, but because you didn't have a parent to tell you.
The Genesis that discipline and self-control is the most important thing that impart in your children. The interesting about discipline and self-control is that when you don't exercise discipline and self-control, you actually lose the ability. It actually nerfs it. The less you exercise self-control, the less self-control you end up having. It just keeps nudging you over and over again towards having less self-control. Brielle, thank you for the bits. Thank you.
Let's see. Dwayne Harris says, to say that we're more busy than our ancestors is wrong. They got up at 4 a.m. and worked till the sun went down outside and then did chores inside till midnight. They didn't waste time with social media and chit-chat and TV. And somehow they found time to raise not 1, not 2, but average of 7 children, how to wipe their own ass, have manners, and respect elders by 6 years old. It's us. We're too consumed with ourselves.
To be fair, though, we did kind of fuck up the family in that time. So before you had most households living off of a single parent salary, and that's not really as easy anymore as it used to be fair. I mean, you know, as much as I love blaming modern people, I think that is actually a factor.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think you're absolutely right. So when parents today try to use the excuse of, or people in general are always using as an excuse, oh, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. First of all, you're not nearly as busy as you think you are. And that goes for all of us, myself included. We all think that we're really busy. Some of us are more busy than others. But in reality, if you were to just log the amount of time you spend a week simply staring at a screen, that you don't have to, I'm not talking about for work.
Let's check. You guys want to know how much time I spent on my screen? What do you guys think? How much did you guys spend on your screen? Because it actually logs it and actually does log it on phones. So what do you guys have? Okay, to be fair, mine is going to be skewed a bit. Mine says 2 hours a day, but that doesn't seem right. I think the reason why is because what I do is I fall asleep with my phone. So I put my phone on YouTube and I put it up and I fall asleep to it. And it just kind of sits there playing for like a long time. So that might be, but I do spend too much time on Discord, I would say. I spend about 1 hour a day on Discord, that does make sense. That is not good. But then again, I'm also multitasking, to be fair. Like I'm on Discord while I'm doing other work. Like the work that I do involves waiting a lot because like you have to like kind of set things in motion. There's that, but it's still not good.
You would see that just there alone, you got more than enough time to do anything you want with your life, and it's just being consumed. And that's part of the thing with the screen is that
Friel, thank you so much for the bits. It sounds strange. The youth drama is set in a unique world where people are born without gender and choose to be male or female at age 12. I watched an anime like that. Dude, those are really good anime. Dude, this anime, dude, I'll show it to you later. I don't want to tangent.
with your life.
I don't have time to tangent, but there's another anime like that called Simoon. I love that anime. It's such a good anime. It's very interesting. It makes me cry at the end every single time. It's like the way that has like the best soundtrack, like one of the most underrated anime soundtracks ever. I'll talk about it more later.
And it's just being consumed. And that's part of the thing with the screen is that it eats up your time in a way that you don't feel. This is one of the issues with it. It's got this lobotomizing effect when you're staring at a screen. So it could eat up like, you could be looking at a screen for 52 minutes and it feels like it was 5.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why people think they're way busier than they are. You know, they get home from work, whatever, they put the kids to bed, then they get out their phone and they stare at it and they look up at the clock and it's like, oh, it's already bedtime. And you see, I had no time in between putting the kids to bed and now I have to go to bed because I got to get work in the morning. Well, no, actually you had like 3.5 hours, but you just spent it just like doing this with your phone the whole time. And that's why.
One thing you can do to optimize a little bit on this, by the way, just a little tip, is if you do find yourself to be slightly addicted to, you know, YouTube and stuff like that, try watching something that at least gives you some skills, because then you feel that then it's a little bit less bad because you're at least gaining something from what you're doing. So like one thing that I'll do is I'll watch like creative stuff so that like it kind of gives me some creative juice back. Like anime is really good for me. Like watching anime, it might seem like it's a huge waste of time, but it actually helps me a lot with my work. So try to find something that helps you with your work, that helps you in a way other than just entertainment.
Eric says, yes, let's raise more subservient order followers and permission slip seekers. What could go wrong? Well, this is the dumbest thing. This is the dumbest thing. Yes, you want to raise children to follow your orders and in many cases seek permission. Like, of course you want to raise your kids that way. That's called being obedient, being disciplined, being humble. You think the problem is that kids today are too humble and too obedient? Patrick, is that what you think? You think the problem we have in society today is that kids are too obedient, too well behaved. They are too prone to deferring to adults. You actually think that's our problem?
That is so fucking done.
And you know something else, just so you know, every great man of history that you can name, if you can name any, which you probably can't, literally all of them, every single one.
I can name one. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Slayer.
Was a man who respected hierarchy and respected people in positions of legitimate authority. And definitely respected the authority of a parent over a child. Every single one. So this thing of, oh, no one's in charge of me, I don't have to listen to anybody, that is no great man has ever had that attitude. Sorry. Acknowledging that there are people in the world who know more than you, acknowledging that there are people who have authority that you do not have, acknowledging that you owe respect to your superiors, to your elders. All of that is necessary for to be a not just a great person, but to be a functional person in society. These parents say, like, my parents did this to me and I hated it, so I'm not going to do this to my child. That tells me they're not mature enough to have kids. My parents forced me to eat what they made. I hated it as a kid, but as an adult, understand why. Yeah, I agree. You hear this from adults. They say, well, my parents made me do that, and I really didn't like it, so I'm not going to make my kids do it. Have you not grown up at all? Yep. Like, yeah, you're supposed to go through the phase as a child where your parents are telling you to do something, and you really hate that you have to do it. And so you say to yourself, well, when I'm a parent and I have kids, I'm never going to make them clean their room. This is so unfair. Yeah, when you're like 12, you might have that view. But by the time you're 32, you should have grown up. Now when you're 32, you should...
Dude, I was that kid that had Legos like they were fucking caltrops in my room. So it's like nobody could attack my bed because there was just caltrops everywhere.
You should have gone through the evolution where you realize that, oh, no, actually, like, of course you should clean your room. I'm glad my parents made me do that. When I have kids, or with my kids now, I'm definitely going to make them do those things. You should be at that point when you're in your 20s and 30s and you've got a lot of like...
Leave deploying M&Ds in her childhood. Dude, I remember... Oh my God, I remember... Oh my God, this is dark. This is a dark memory, dude. One time, this must have been elementary school or something. I remember one of the kids at school goes, hey, Leaflit, I got something really cool. And I was like, what? It's called the Anarchist Cookbook. And I was like, ooh, that sounds naughty. And so I was really into science when I was a kid too. I was like really into science. I was like a weird kid. Like I would ask for like science kits and stuff, test tubes and like microscope. I got a microscope for like my birthday. And I was like, it was like one of those shitty fucking microscopes. You know what I'm talking about. It's a shitty microscope with like a fucking mirror, like a mirror. Like it didn't have a fucking light. It had a mirror. So you had to like open the window and then you had to like reflect the light like into the mirror to like shoot up into the thing so you could actually look at it. But anyway, so I had all this like science stuff, right? So the Anarchist Cookbook. It's like, oh, wow, that sounds crazy. And like another thing is I was into like video games, right? Like I lived in the countryside. So a lot of the kids were into video games because like we didn't really have much to do. And it was like, yeah. So our Anarchist Cookbook, look at this. We got tennis ball bomb. We got, ooh, look at this thing. It's called a Molotov cocktail. And I was like, oh, what's in that? I was looking at it. Wait a minute. Alcohol. I have alcohol because I had a bottle of, you know, the alcohol that you use in an alcohol lamp? Because I had an alcohol lamp as a kid. And I had a big bottle of the what's it called? Was it ethanol or something that like you put in the alcohol lamp, right? And so I had the big bottle of it, and I was like, oh wait, Molotov cocktail. Like we were making fucking Molotov cocktails in the backyard with like wicks though. We were using like so it's like we would take like a fucking jar, like you know those like little jars of God, those little jars of like jarred olives, right? Like jarred olives. And so you have the jar of olives, right? And then we would take like a screwdriver or like a hammer and a nail and like punch a hole in the top of it, run a wick through it, like a alcohol lamp wick through it. And it was like, guys, look what we made. It's a bomb. Dude, a bunch of little rascal kids like, yeah, we got a bomb. You know, it's like a bomb. It's like from Final Fantasy. Or it's like, you know what? It's like, you know, you take it and you throw it. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. We found the treasure, guys. And it was like so stupid. It was like so dumb.
Grown adults who still have the mentality of 12-year-olds.
We made a bomb.
As a parent, if you are not making your kids do things that they don't want to do, then you're a terrible parent, because most of the basic duties and responsibilities around the house are things
God,
that you're...
I'm a fucking weirdo. Holy shit, dude. Dude, now that I think about it, like, the place I grew up was fucking weird. All of the kids were fucking weird. Now that I think about it. Holy fuck. You're weird. Chasing the ice cream man because, like, we made a better store. Like, weird.
Kid is not going to want to do, because who would? They're not going to want to clean their room.
We had a man, there's so much weird shit, dude. Like, we had a, I'll tell you this story later, but we had a Team Rocket club. We had a Team Rocket club at the school with a slam book. Do you guys know what the slam book is? I mean, nobody knows what the fucking slam book is, but we had a slam book for the Team Rocket club, and we had all the strats. We beat all the other kids at Pokemon at school. We were the best kids at Pokemon. Yeah.
Are things that your kid is not going to want to do, because who would? They're not going to want to clean their room. They're not going to want to obey your rules.
Rockin'.
They're not going to want to, you know, have to forego eating ice cream whenever they want, and on and on and on. Like, all the basic duties and responsibilities they're not going to want to do. And if you as a parent are not making your kids do those things, then you just are failing in the most basic way as a parent. I mean, my parents tried to make me eat, but I was picky. They say you can't leave the table till you eat. I say okay and not eat, and then they'd get up for bed and they'd make me what I want because they can't not feed their child. I will die on this hill after 6 kids. There's no such thing as a picky eater. Okay, that is a skill issue as a parent.
True.
I know it makes parents get upset when I say this.
100%
There's no such thing as a picky eater. Unless your kid, like, legitimately has some kind of mental issue. I guess there can be cases like that. But putting those aside, if you have a, you know, sort of normal, mentally healthy child, picky eater is a skill issue. That's a parenting issue. We don't have picky eaters in our house. How did that happen? 6 kids, we don't have picky eaters. How did we do that? We just got lucky? No, it's really simple. You eat what's put in front of you. And if you don't eat that, then you won't eat anything.
I agree with him.
Okay, and you hear these parents that say, well, I try that and my kid will just refuse to eat. How long is your kid gonna go on this hunger strike before they just eat what's put in front of them? Because I guarantee you what you're doing is you're telling...
You can't let your kid get away with this. Basically, like you have to tell them, like, no matter how much you cry, you're not getting your way. You can't give in.
Eat that or nothing. And then they refuse, and then like an hour later, you feel bad because they're hungry, and so you make them chicken nuggets. That's what's happening. What you have to be willing to do if you really have like and really if you do this at a young age.
Another thing too is you could also be shit at cooking, to be honest. Might need to make your food a little bit better, you know?
You won't get to the picky eater phase. If you do get to that phase, then you're gonna have to probably get to a point where, okay, you're not gonna eat any dinner tonight. You're gonna go to bed and you're gonna be hungry. You're not gonna die. Like, your kid's not gonna starve to death. That's not gonna happen. But like, you might have to get them to a point where they're actually really hungry. And
Saber says, my mother insists we eat certain things. Me and Taurus just left them. And we got older. She saw us eating, was like, you wouldn't eat it when I cooked it. Well, we're better cooks than you.
They're begging you for a snack, or like they're, you know, for what they want to eat, and you just...
Okay, guys, I do got to say this. This is a very good point. That one thing about American cuisine, and this is like mostly Northern, you guys suck at making vegetables. Like, just fucking awful. I don't know why. Like, you go to like a Denny's and it's like, what are the veggies? It's like they took the broccoli and the carrots and they just threw it in water and boiled the fuck out of it. And then they took it out. It's like mushy and nasty. And they put it on your plate like they did something. And it's fucking awful. Like, what is that even? Like, what are you doing?
Sorry, I know you're hungry, but you're not. Here's your meal. Like, we're not depriving you of food. It's right here. A delicious, gorgeous meal. Please eat it.
Yeah, add bacon. Yeah, you gotta roast stuff.
But you might have to get to that.
Like, if you don't like broccoli, try roasting broccoli. Like, roasted broccoli is really good. Really, really good. Yeah.
That point. So, and we've had, look, we've gone through this with our kids, with a few of them in particular, where they try it, they test it, they try out being a picky eater, and so the rule is, like, you're not getting up from the table until you eat your food. And we've had a few kids, a time or two, that have said, okay, well, I'm not going to. It's like, okay, well, then you're going to sit there. An hour and a half later, they're still sitting at the table. Okay, like, you're not getting up until you eat that. You want to sit here for another 5 hours? That's on you. And eventually they'll eat it. Another comment says, this is half right. There is no call for kids to ask to be excused from the table. Do you ask to be excused? Is the table a prison? Bad ideas lead to worse ones.
What?
And I'm a big believer in having kids ask to be excused. Do I ask to be excused from?
I think it's discipline. Basically, is the reason for it. It sounds like it's not really meaningful or whatever, but it's the point is to learn discipline. That's the point of it.
My own table? No, because it's my table. Because it's my table in my house with my food that I bought. And so, no, I don't. Who am I going to ask? No, see, the kids ask me because I'm in charge.
See, the thing is, the interesting thing is, like those martial arts like schools and stuff, like those kind of like froofy martial arts. You know what I mean? Like the ones that are all like Tai Chi and shit like that. You know, they're like kind of really that practically good. They do have a very good effect for discipline. That's like the thing that's really, really good about them. Even if they're ceremonial and froofy, they do teach like kind of mental fortitude and discipline, which is really good.
And this is all the stuff that I provided for them. Who am I going to ask? I don't have anybody to ask. I don't have to ask. I don't have to ask to be excused. I can do whatever I want as far as that goes. I'm not my child. So I'm in charge. The child's not. And so we're big believers in that. The kid should ask to be excused from the table. Is the table a prison? No, but my house is not a prison. And yet they can't just walk outside and go wherever they want without asking me or asking their mom. It's not a prison. It's not a prison, but my 6-year-old can't just disappear.
I think the reason why people will have trouble with this, though, is the reason you ask to be excused really is because the dinner is supposed to be like family time, right? So if you finish eating before everybody else, it's like asking to be excused is kind of polite, right? Because it's like I finished eating, I have stuff to do or something like that or whatnot, right? You're basically skipping out on like time that you would have to like hang out with your family. So it just makes sense.
Wherever she wants without getting any permission, obviously. Does that make it a prison? No, it just means we are the parents. We are in charge. You have rules to follow that we don't have to follow because we're the authority figures. And we didn't, I think for a while we didn't do the whole like you have to ask to be excused. And I think probably 10 years ago, I would have felt like, it's a little, I don't know. It's a little unnecessary. As the kids have gotten older, that's when we started to instate this rule because,
And the problem is like, that's not to say, sorry, this is a really important distinction though. I do have to bring this up. That's not to say that you should always have things that are just a pain in the ass. You gotta have, there are gonna be things that are kind of outdated and there's no reason to do them. Definitely 100%. As long as you can think to yourself, why am I doing this thing? Like, why is this ceremony? Why is this cultural thing that I'm doing? This ritual? Why am I doing it? And by ritual, I don't mean like religious. I mean like a thing that you do all the time. For what purpose does it serve, right? And as long as you can answer that, then it's fine. But if you're just adding stuff to do just to do it, busy work or whatever, I mean, that's obviously not good. I just wanted to be clear because that's a very important distinction. I'm not advocating for forcing people to do stuff that doesn't have any benefit.
When a dinner is prepared and effort's been put into preparing this dinner, no, you're not just going to sit there at the table silently for 5 minutes and then just disappear. Like, no, it's ungrateful. This is a family time. We're sitting at the table together.
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah.
You can't, as a child, decide to just put a kibosh on family time and walk away from the table, not even saying thank you for the meal or anything. We're not going to allow that. Nobody should ever be forced to eat something against their will. It's cruel and creates bad eating habits. That is insane.
I agree.
Some of these people.
They're cocked, man.
Nobody should be forced to eat something against their will. Okay, what's the other option? What is the other option? So you're just going to let your kid decide what their own diet is. You're going to let your 4-year-old. So your 4-year-old is going to be his own nutritionist.
These are the same people that think that kids can decide what they are. So yeah, makes sense.
His own dietitian. You're gonna let your 4-year-old decide every meal for himself. That's insane. You're being a bad parent. You're being a bad parent because you're refusing to do the job. Being a parent is making these decisions for your family in many cases, making decisions that are right for your kid that they will not make because they don't know what's right and healthy for them. You do, you're the parent. So you feed them hopefully a nice meal that has like protein and maybe some vegetables and stuff like that because they need it for their growing bodies. They don't know that they need that. And so you have to force that on them.
The problem is these people, they think that kids are basically adults, like in terms of like mental capacity and responsibility. It's obviously not true. So these people are like, this is like the belief of the children, and then you'll have like a kid go, but global warming is bad, and everyone's like, see, the kid said it. The kid said it. Obviously, it's the right thing, right? It's so fucking stupid, man. How did this happen? This think of the children, people.
This is just basic parenting. Completely insane. And it doesn't create
Greta
bad eating habits.
Thunberg.
It does exactly the opposite. All of my kids have like, for kids have really good eating habits, and they all just eat. We make a meal and they eat it. Whatever it is, we make a healthy meal and they eat it. That's about as good an eating habit as you can have. And that's all it takes. All right, finally, Scrappy Little Texan says, I agree, but I haven't figured out the magic trick to keep my 5 and 7-year-olds seated at the dinner table. It drives us crazy. 7 years old, this should not be a problem anymore. 5 is a little bit on the, like, 2, I mean, really, once your kid starts eating solid foods and they're sort of at the dinner table at that point, from that age until about, maybe like 3.5, 4 can be a little rough, and you just have to get through it. By 7 years old, they should certainly be at a point where they can sit at the table, politely and basically still and eat the food. And at 7 years old, if you can't get them to sit down and eat dinner, they should have that skill by now at 7. I mean, 7 is late in the game. So the trick, which is not magic, is just consequence. And I think this is where parents flinch. This is where parents very often flinch. And you're long since at the point, in my opinion, where the consequences should be pretty severe for the 7-year-old. But by severe, all I mean is something as simple as, if you don't sit still at the table and eat in a civilized way, if you're bouncing all over the place, you're not sitting down, you're trying to make it all about you. This is family dinner time. It's not about you. You're going to sit down and you're going to be civilized and polite. And if you're not going to do that, then we're going to send you to bed without dinner. And you actually have to do it. It's basically all the old fashioned stuff that like our parents and grandparents did that was actually right. You should be doing that. Sending your kid to bed without dinner should be a thing that you do sometimes if you need to. And I'm telling you right now, especially at 7, like that'll make an impression. And we've had to do that a few times with our kids for various reasons, and not very often. But we've had a few kids where, it's like 6 o'clock and you're going to bed.
I agree.
You're bed without dinner. Do that a few times. Makes an impression.
Thanks, thank you.
And that's what consequences should be. They have to be something that is unpleasant for the child. Not going to hurt the child, not anything like that. They're perfectly safe, but it will make an impression, and it will be really uncomfortable for them, and they're not going to enjoy it. And that's what you have to do. So I think with your 7-year-old, you could break him of this habit the span of 12 hours. Try it tonight. Give him a couple warnings. I'm sure you've already given him a million warnings if he's 7. But if he doesn't listen to that, okay, you're going to bed. You're not going to eat, go to bed. Something tells me the next day he's going to be seated at the dinner table very politely, and he's going to eat what's put in front of him. That's the way kids work. It's not that hard. I mean, it is hard. Being a parent is hard. I'll backtrack. It is hard. It is difficult, but it's simple, especially with young kids. It's simple. It's not complicated. It's not complicated, even if it is hard to do. So that's it. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I mean, I agree mostly with what he said there.